Sam, thanks very much. Loneliness, well, it's set to affect 2 million people in less than a decade. That's according to Age UK. The charity estimates that the number of lonely people aged over 50 and living in England will soar over the next 7 years thanks to our ageing population. Well, with us now is Neil Shah from the Stress Management Society. Neil, lovely to see you this morning.
Good morning.
I just wonder if we can start with your own experience. I mean, you set up the Stress Management Society because you yourself were lonely, weren't you?
Yeah, well, more than just loneliness. I kind of got to a period in my life where I felt like I'd lost everything. Lost my business, I lost most of the people I thought were my closest friends, the person I was in a relationship, it failed. And I wasn't alone. There was lots of people around me, but I felt I had no one to connect with. And I think that's that experience of not being able to have someone you can share your experience with, whatever that might be, sharing your experience of fun, sharing your thoughts, feelings and emotions. And sadly, more and more people are starting to feel that way. You can live in a city like London and you've got 8 million people around you, but it can be one of the loneliest places in the world.
I mean, when loneliness, when we've talked about it in the past, it has tended to be characterised as older people, certainly of a pensionable age, living by themselves perhaps because of their partner or their husband or wife has passed on. But actually, it does appear from what you're saying that it's a problem that frankly could affect anyone at any age at any time, depending on the circumstances.
Absolutely, and you know, men in particular, as we know with some of the statistics, that 84 young men in Britain every week take their own life. You know, mental health problems have got to a point that 1 in 3 are suffering from mental health issues. I don't think anybody's immune to this. And also the way that we connect with each other is very much at a superficial level. Now, technology is driving us to connect in 140 characters or less. You know, we use Facebook and Twitter and so on and so forth as ways of engaging with people. Now, for a lot of us, that is not true, meaningful connection. And many of us are missing that. And in addition to that, loneliness isn't just about having someone to talk to. Tactile kinesthetic stimulation, or in layman's
Sorry,
terms...
I was going to say, could you explain that one for me?
Tactile kinesthetic stimulation, in layman's terms, is touch, hugs, physical connection.
So basically what you're saying is you can be... being alone is not the same as being lonely. You can be surrounded by people and still be lonely.
Absolutely, and I think that's a key fundamental fact, is many of us find ourselves around people but feel lonely because we crave that deeper connection, the ability to be able to connect with someone in a way that is fulfilling and nourishing. And this is where I think it's really important that people start to consider, who is your support network? Who can you turn to if you want to have a laugh and have some fun? Who do you turn to in an emergency? Who do you turn to if you need some advice or guidance? Who do you turn to if you've got a bad day? Who do you turn to when you need a hug?
Well, that's a question I often ask, I have to say. So what needs then to be done? I mean, you set up the Stress Management Society and one presumes through that found a whole new circle of acquaintances, friends.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that at the end of the day, most of us, the first relationship we need to foster is with ourselves, and most of us haven't really taken the time to develop a deeper connection with ourselves. We do live in a world where we are driven by kind of superficial influences, you know, television, internet, social media, going out to the shops and buying stuff. And I think as we take the time to really get to know ourselves and foster that relationship with ourselves, now, at the end of the day, if you have a good relationship with yourself, you're not going to feel lonely anyway, because you always have someone there with you, which is yourself. And I think that, for me, is the first step in this process, because as we connect more deeply with ourselves and discover... And I'm going to use the term spirituality. I'm not talking about from a religious context. Spirituality is connection with self through which you connect to everything else.
But do you think that we can truly get to grips with this problem where, as you say, on the one hand, we are all far more connected to the rest of the world than we ever have been before, but it's a connection on a digital, superficial level, at the same time as we don't live down the road from our families anymore. Gran isn't in the street just over the back. We've lost that connection to our family as well.
You know, and if we go even further than that, pubs are closing at a rate of knots. Now, you know, I'm not sitting there advocating people go out drinking, but that was a real social structure. People will go to the pub, have a drink and connect with friends, family, you know, people in their local neighbourhood. We don't have those social structures anymore. And I think, for me, being digitally connected is disconnecting us from reality. So my advice would be disconnect to reconnect.
Well, Age UK is currently calling on the government to introduce a loneliness test for all of its policy proposals in future. We'll keep fingers crossed that they might actually listen to us. Neil Shah, many thanks for being with us.
Wonderful. It's a pleasure.
Still to come, we have all the sport with Rob. Rob, what's coming up?